Alrighty, today we're going to look at improvising around scales, using what you know pretty much to make it sound interesting, and then using your ear as a guide. So what I'm going to do is talk through the D major scale. I'm going to use that as an example. I'm going to show you how I would make it more interesting, because I've limited myself to 2 strings. Then I'm going to play my loop pedal and show you how I would use that scale to create something that I might like if I do it well. Okay, so let's look at the D major scale first. Now when you get these scale diagrams, I know they can look a bit scatty, but the main thing is don't play them scatty, otherwise you'll end up with something that's like... and it can be like, ah! So don't do that. You want to go left to right and then up. The main thing is it's going up in pitch. I mean, this is just a standard. Obviously you can play the scale backwards, but if you're a complete beginner and they're completely baffling you, confusing you, then go from the lowest note and work your way up to the top one. And if you're still unsure of which one that is, have a little play through them, even if you do it randomly, and you'll find the top note. And if it's a good scale and it's been done correctly, it should be the same note as the starting note. So those are the same notes, just an octave apart. So let's start with that low one. So we're starting with our D. Let's move my hand up here so you know I'm not doing anything untoward. Alright, so open D. Then we're going up in pitch, so 2nd fret on your D string. Then 4th fret, same string. Then 5th fret, same string. Next string, A. Then 2nd fret, 4th fret, then 5th fret. Now this is a really, really friendly scale. I can't stress that enough because it's just 2 strings. So it's a lovely one to start with on the mandolin. If you've never done any scales on the mandolin, start with this one. Because it's just 2 strings, right? So you can really get happy with it. And note that I'm not doing the whole thing with 1 finger. Like this. I mean, there's a place for slides. Don't get me wrong, and we'll talk about slides in a minute, but you wouldn't do the entire thing like that because you're not going to get fluent with your fingers. I always say spider fingers, spider fingers. You want to go index, probably middle to ring. If you don't like that, you could always go index to ring to little. But I tend to find, I'm a guitarist first, and I tend to find on the mandolin that that's just too close. It would be fine on a guitar because I'd be more spread out like that, but on a mandolin I just prefer doing it that way. Now we are all different, so long as you're using different fingers I'm happy, okay? Don't beat yourself up. Alrighty then, so we've done the scale, let's go backwards through it as well. So from the low pitch up to the high pitch and then back. So open D, then we've got our E, F sharp, G, then A, B, C sharp, D, and then let's go backwards. So D, take your time, C sharp, B, A, then G, F sharp, E, D. Alright, so now we know we can go up, and then we can go back as well. Let's go back one last time from that top D, going backwards. Here we go. So D, C sharp, B, A, G, F sharp, E, D. Lovely. So simple enough to start with, right? Now we're gonna fiddle with it, okay? So let's do a pair of quavers on each one, or a pair of 8 notes. So we're just gonna go, kind of like doing coffee, right? So you're gonna go coffee, 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 coffee. But can you see the difference is rather than going, I want you to have a go at going down, up. So you're gonna go down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. I'll do one line, then you do it, okay? Let's do it. Then you play it. And then I'll do the next line down, same again. There you do it. Super! And then let's put it all together. I'll try and count you in. 1, 2, 3, 4. We're feeling pretty good. Let's see if we can go backwards as well. Take your time. Good. Coffee is a nice way to start if you're not used to tremolo as well, by the way. And that alternate picking is going to be your springboard into tremolo as well. So let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let's talk about hammer-ons as well. So we've done a little bit of alternate picking. And let's do hammer-ons. So we can also go where we hammer on the notes. So I'm plucking the string, and then it's all in the left hand. Plucking it once, all in the left hand. And in this case, because they're quite nice, they're all in a row, I'm going to see if I can hammer the whole lot on. So I'm going to pluck and throw them all down. You might find sometimes it works, sometimes you get this. And that's when your fingers have collapsed a little bit and they haven't got, it's gross, but they haven't got the bone pointing down onto the string. You want to get the bone of your fingertips in there. Can you see also my fingers are arched? If they go flat, you've got no power and it will deaden the string. So arched fingers, if that means bringing down the thumb, do it. If you need to get in a different seating position, whatever you need, you want arched fingers, strong fingers, and hammer them down. All right, let's try it on the next one down as well. Ooh, see, it can happen to us all. Sometimes we can miss our mark. One of them will get the mark though, so keep going even if that does happen. Your hand will figure out what to do to fix it. It will troubleshoot, shall we say. Good, so that's our hammer-ons. We can also pull off as well. So when you're pulling it off, you want the notes that you're going to play on there first. So you're not going to have them anywhere else. They're there ready to go, and this time it's the reverse. So you hit it first, and then they pull off. So in this case, it's kind of flicking downwards. Let's do it again. Good. And obviously I'm doing a whole row, but if you're really new to this and you really want to break it down, you don't have to do all these fingers. You could just go that kind of thing. Pull off, hammer on, pull off. So you can segment it, you chunk it however you would like to, because you're aware of the notes that are in the scale now. So now we're just taking out bits and going, what can I do with that? All right, so we've done pull-offs on this string. Let's come over to the D string. You might find that a little bit harder because it's thick, but go with it, don't worry. It's all good practice. Like I said, you can always do these two, and then those two. Ooh. And like I said, don't worry if you hit the wrong string or anything like that. I mean, in my case, it's because I'm too far up. I should be back down there over the sound hole. It's much easier. A lot louder too. So do make sure you're still over the sound hole and don't worry about mistakes. I can't stress that enough actually. When you're improvising using a scale, don't worry about mistakes. No one minds. It's fine. You're learning, right? And also you're having a good time. It's fun. It should be. So really don't stress if you hit the wrong note. Like say I went, let's see, maybe I got a 3 instead. It's so quick, no one will notice if you're in the throes of things anyway. It's okay. I always say to folks, look, you're only ever 1 fret away from the right note. You know, you can always slide, which brings us neatly to slides. Now, a lot of people will think, okay, so she said index around 2nd fret, so I'll slide on that one, and then they get a very sore index finger. This really depends on the person and their fingers. I personally know I'm going to hurt my index if I slide on my index. It's just not built for it. So I know I'm going to use my strong finger, my middle finger. So I'll get a good slide on that and it won't hurt me. I've got something like thicker skin on this one. I don't know what it is, but my middle finger likes to slide. So I'm looking at scale. I'm probably going to go E to F sharp. I could do the whole thing if I want to, but I like to think of little intervals if you like, just a couple frets, and then I'm not going to over slide it and it's going to sound nice. So sliding is just, you keep the pressure down. You pluck it once, you keep the pressure down, and you move to the fret you're aiming for. If you don't keep the pressure down, you'll get this. And you might get a little bit of it, but because you're not still squeezing, it won't work. So let's try a couple together, because I know folks struggle with this. We're not going to do tons of it even, because you can, like I said, you can get very sore fingers very fast. And this would be something you would use quickly. Like I said, if you made a mistake, you go, oops, I landed on the wrong one, there we go. that kind of thing. So let's just do that. Like I said, we're going 2nd fret to 4th, E to the F sharp. And we're going to squeeze, and I'm going to keep saying squeeze. So here we go. Squeeze, 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 squeeze. And again. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Keep the pressure down. Let's do it even slower. Squeeze, 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 squeeze. Good. Let's try it on the next string down as well. So this time we're doing B to C sharp. Here we go. Plucking. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze as you move up. Keep the pressure down. Keep thinking, I want the bone of my fingertip. Squeeze. Super. And it's a fine line. I know I'm saying squeeze, 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 but it is a fine line between squeezing enough and too much that it hurts massively and you're getting caught on all the frets. So you'll find what works, because I find now I don't need as much pressure as I used to. So keep at it, but don't, it's kind of like little and often, okay? I always say this, little and often. Don't do it for an entire hour, because that will kill your wrist, kill your finger, and probably your love of the mandolin. So don't do that. Just a little. Just maybe 5 minutes out of the day, have a go at your slides. Because like I said, they're useful if it goes wrong. And I'm going to briefly talk about tremolo because I've done a Udemy course on tremolo. So if you're interested in that, have a look in link in the description box. But basically, like I said, you could start with your coffees. And then you're just sort of taking that one step further and introducing a shake. So there you are. So these are all the things, all the skills, if you like, in your toolbox that you have on a mandolin. You have your alternate picking. So again. You got your hammer-ons. You got your pull-offs. You got your slides. And you got your tremolo. Alright, just to give you an idea. So, we're now ready to have a go at jamming. Okie dokie. So now I've got my loop pedal or my jam track ready to go. In my case it's a loop pedal, and I have just looped around on a guitar the chords D, A, B minor and G, because that's my 4-chord trick. I've chosen guitar because it will make this stand out more. So the guitar is a warmer, lower pitch, shall we say, and as you know, the mandolin is a little bit more treble. So I thought, that way you're going to hear it better. I'm well aware that because it's playing for an amp, it's going to sound kind of in the background, but not important. It's more important that you see what my fingers are doing anyway, okay? So what I'm going to do to start with, like say I'm a complete beginner, I've got my jam track, I'm feeling a little bit nervous about this, people might be listening to me through the walls, oh God, but it's all good, it's all right, because what you can do is limit yourself. So you've got all those skills, right? But they're going to go out the window if you're trying to do the entire scale. So what I'm going to say is, let's pick 2 to 3 notes to start with. So I quite like, I like my treble notes, so I might go for an open A. I might have that C sharp to D maybe, because they're right next to each other and then I don't have to worry too much about where they are. And I could probably do quite a lot with those notes. So let's see what I do with those notes. Let's press play. Okay, so just open A, C sharp and D. That up there for comfort. So I went wrong, so you slide and just slide it back up and it's fine. So hopefully there you've seen, you know, just 2 notes, well, 3 notes, sorry, but 2 notes with my fingers, and quite a lot I could get out of it, right? So, and some of it looked fancier than it was. Like I said, it was just hammering on and pulling off immediately. Just a little bit of that can go a long way. And yeah, tremolo, if you're up this high, it's not going to sound great. I found that really hard up the neck. But I still wanted to show you that you can, you know, you can tremolo. If you're happy to tremolo, tremolo! And I also wanted you to see if you make a mistake, just slide up and then it sounds intentional. All right? Now, we're good, right? We're good with our 2 notes. Getting a bit staggered with my words, aren't I? So we're good with our 2 notes. Now let's see if we can pop in a couple more. So maybe we could try 4 notes, right? I felt like I wanted the B. That would be nice. So I at least want that one in there. Do I want one more? Maybe I could. How about open D? Because then that's easy. So open D, the low one. And then we'll just have all the notes on the A string. A, B, C sharp, D. Alright, so again, we're still not using the whole of the scale. We're just going, well, that was really fun. I felt slightly limited. I wanted that B. Let's try it with that. Let's press play. Okay. Idea, I could do that for hours. And like I said, it's only a few notes. It's just the open D, the open A, the B, the C sharp, and the D. And I think you'll have noticed there I was using a lot of kind of like we call these double stops when they're on a violin, and basically you're just doing 2 notes at the same time. And in this case that's 2 Ds. I just like the sound of that, so I was going with it. I was like, oh, that's nice. If I do my 2 open strings in the middle, I've essentially got a D chord. I've got a D5 because there's no third in it. There's no F sharp. or F natural if it was a D minor. So it's just those two in the middle, and there's a lot you can do with that. Which kind of leads me to my final point of, if you know what the chords are that are being played in the jam track, you could also use those to expand your playing as well. So I've told you, you've got D, you've got an A, you've got a B minor, which I'm noticing a lot of people dislike on the mandolin. I'll talk that through in a minute, and a G. So those are the chords being played. And because you know that, you can then use elements of these chords in your improvising, which I'll have a go at in a minute. But before I do, let's talk about B minor, because I know you'll find the others easy enough. D either side, A, two of them together at the top. G is friendly enough, just second on A, third on your E. So B minor, from there, you would go like that, twist your hand round, flatten those two, so second on your A, second on your E, and reach over fourth onto your G. That's how I play it. There are different ways to play it, totally fine, just it's good for you to be aware of what on earth I'm playing, because I know it's not always clear to see from the video. So that's just fourth on the G, my D string is completely open, there's no fingers on it, and then it's second on the A, second on the E. Alright, and yeah, don't feel like you have to do that, that's painful. I'm just doing it so you can see. Alright, so now I'm going to use all of those elements I've just talked about. Yeah, I was debating. I was going, shall I still do the scale and the chords? Yeah, I think I will, because then you'll see how you can kind of lead yourself into the chords as well. I might use the rest of the notes in the scale. I'm not going to limit myself too much with that. I'm thinking more chords. I want to show you more of the chords, so let's do it. So that's the D. That's the A. Coming to the B minor. Then over to the G. Through a little bit of that so that wasn't complete, like, I don't know what she's doing now, her hand is going everywhere. So I had a little bit of the chord, and then every now and then I would pick some of the notes from the scale. Now I'm going to confess, not all of those are random. So I know in a D chord I've got my D over here, I've got my F sharp and an A, which may or may not be in tune, slightly out, but I can see on the scale there's an F sharp, right, on 4th fret. So I know if I put that F sharp in there, I'm going to get a beautiful D, but I could also hammer it on. I think I also hammered on to the A, which I could do because there's a G in the scale as well, and by hammering it on I'm going G to an A. But I don't think that one was as effective as the D to the F sharp. But a little bit of chord theory will help you out massively. So, one final time, let us jam together. Using all of these skills, we've got our chords, we've got our alternate picking, we've got our hammer-ons, our pull-offs, our slides, our tremolo. We got it all, guys. We have got it all. So let's just have a moment. somewhere up there, but maybe you're a little unsure about it, I say go for it, right? Just go for it. If you feel like you want to go up, try it in steps of 2 frets at a time and see if that works for you. And sometimes you might find it doesn't, you might go, and you'll go, ooh! So just bring it back by sliding and you'll find something that works. Sometimes the moment just takes you, right? And you come off the sheet, so to speak. You're in the grey area of the map, because you're off the map. And sometimes that's okay. Just go with your hand, because I could just felt it, guys. I was on that 5th fret, and I was like, I want to go up higher. I want to go up the neck. And it just wanted to go up. So like I said, top tip, go in 2 fret intervals to start with. And then you'll find it won't work after that point. And you'll be like, oh! But if you keep sliding, perhaps backwards at that point, you will find a note that is correct and you'll be able to find your way back. So all in all, don't be afraid to go up the neck, okay? Sometimes you can be, especially in my case, because I know it's going to twang up there quite a bit. But don't be afraid to go up there. Go up there anyway. It's fine. When you find, and you'll know when it's time to move on, I should say. You will know because you'll feel like it's limiting to just do that one scale now. You'll be like, I'm limited by this. I've done as much as I can with these chords. Where do I go from here? From there, you would go up the neck with another D scale, which would give you a whole other host of notes to fiddle with, and then you could go between that scale and that scale. But same principle would apply. You take it in little chunks. So you would start with just a little bit. That kind of thing. So just a few little things, maybe 3 notes to start with. Once you got those, whack in a couple more, whack in a couple more. So learn it as it is first. Go backwards as well. Then take little chunks out. using your skills. Like I said, we ran through those skills a lot of times. Alternate picking, hammer-ons, pull-offs, slides, tremolo, even vibrato. So run through all of those. And then once you feel warmed up, then have a go with the jam track, I would say. Like I said, don't spend a good hour warming up because your fingers will be toast. You don't want that. Do like 5 minutes or 10 minutes of warm up and then have a go. And once you've been playing for half an hour, if you're still a beginner, I would say have a break because those fingers are going to look like railroad tracks by the time you're finished with that. And you don't want to hurt your fingers. I know it can get really painful. I will say, I keep saying this to everybody, I find this stuff to be a bit of a miracle worker. This is rock tips. It's a bit like painting super glue on your fingertips, but if you're a beginner and your fingers are killing, try it. It's expensive, it's off of Amazon, but you know what? It does help. So there we are. So yeah, I hope this has been helpful for you, and I hope that you give more jams a go as a result. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye guys!